Welcome to Vacuum Wars and to my review of the Deebot X1 Omni. It may be the most advanced robot vacuum yet in terms of specs and new features, but it comes at a huge price tag and it's also just huge in general. And after putting it through a lot of tests the last 2 weeks, I have a list of both pros and cons. So links in the description and let's get started. Starting off with the pros, the Omni X1 has a lot of power. Ecovacs claims it has 5,000 pascals of suction, which is a lot, more than double the amount of their previous flagship robot vacuum. We tested the suction and airflow of the X1 and I would agree it has a lot of suction, more than double the next closest robot vacuum on my list. The airflow was high too at 24 CFM, which is way above the average number of the ones I've tested at about 17 CFM. It did really good with the crevice pickup test, probably because of all that power. It also did good with the carpet deep clean test, where I embed sand into carpet and weigh the bin before and after, where it was well above average, but nothing particularly special. With debris pickup on the surface of floors, it was mostly a pro. It had a very clean pickup even for heavier debris like cat litter, which was impressive, and it did good with small to medium to even large debris on both carpet and hard floors, though here again I just felt it did the job adequately, but nothing particularly special. Another big pro was the design of the massive bin emptying system, which is not only an auto empty bin system where when the robot returns to its base to recharge, a motor kicks in and it sucks the contents of the dustbin into a disposable bag. I really like these auto empty bins in general. They've become common with premium robot vacuums like this one, but the X1 is the first one to also be able to fill and empty its mop tank automatically, as well as wash and dry the mopping pads. The main thing I want to say about it here in the pros section is that it was really well built. Everything worked well, which was not a given with all the new technology involved. For example, the water bins seemed very sturdy and easy to fill. From what I could tell, it seemed like it cleaned the mopping pads very well after every job, and the water transfer must have worked well since I didn't get any leaks and I got a lot of dirty water in the dirty water tank. The dry aspect of the auto empty system was good as well, which is a new system from Ecovacs where the hole that attaches to the bin is on the side of the robot, which I like better than the previous system, which had 2 holes on the bottom, and it emptied the contents of the bin without clogs in all the tests. Another pro is the navigation and obstacle avoidance systems. The X1 Omni has a LiDAR sensor on the top for mapping and basic obstacle avoidance, and several front-mounted sensors including a camera and a 3D mapping system. It was really quick at mapping my house. It did so on the first try, and in the coverage test at the studio it was really good, getting nearly 100% coverage in a very short amount of time. In the obstacle avoidance tests, I think it showed that it was indeed very accurate with avoiding the obstacles that we tested, but it wasn't perfect, which I'll talk about more when we get to the cons section. The app and the app features were also really good. It had no-go lines where you can draw lines or boxes on the map in the app to keep the robot from going places that you don't want it to go, which is a feature that I like and use a lot, and it did extremely well with this in our tests. It has all the advanced app features that you're used to seeing with premium robot vacuums, like very detailed scheduling settings where you can tell it to clean just this room in this way on this day. It has great map management tools. You can save multiple floors at a time. It has a built-in voice assistant, which is new, which allows for a few new features as well. Another pro is that it has a large battery. I think the largest battery that they'll put in robot vacuums, which is 5,200 milliamp hours. The same on the previous T8 AIVI from Ecovacs. Ecovacs says it can get 4.3 hours of runtime on quiet mode, which is by far the largest I've heard one of these companies quote. Moving on to the negative stuff, and the first one is a big one. The mopping system was not very good in my opinion. Ecovacs' new mopping system for the X1 is called the Osmo Turbo 2.0, and it has 2 removable spinning brushes with washable pads attached. When these brushes are installed, it is recognized by the robot, and when it cleans, it also mops. It will vacuum at the same time it mops, but only for hard floors. It won't run on any carpet or rugs when the mops are attached. My experience with this mopping system wasn't very good. I tested it in multiple ways with wet and dry stains, with different surfaces, different water levels on the app, and it just didn't mop very good, especially with dried on spots. There were dried on stains that almost every robot vacuum mop can pick up in my opinion, where the X1 was not able to pick it up even after multiple runs on the highest water flow setting. It could be that there was something wrong with the unit that I had, like maybe it wasn't distributing enough water, though I made sure it was soaking the pads every every time, and with the infrared camera I could see that it was distributing water, just not very much. I do know that it was a departure of Ecovacs to use this spinning brush design, where in the past they used more typical single pad mopping units in other robots. I mentioned earlier that the obstacle avoidance wasn't perfect, and here I wonder if I'm being a little too picky, but as I said, it does avoid obstacles that are too low or too light for its other sensors to detect, things like cords and cloth and pet waste, which is totally amazing, don't miss that, but it would occasionally miss something. You could say that it will learn about that particular object later on with its AI, or Ecovacs will have its object library updated in future updates, and that's all valid, but I've also seen better obstacle avoidance performance out of the box than this one did on the test, even by other Ecovacs products. So while I was impressed, I was hoping to be more impressed for the price. The other thing is the size. I know it has to be big because of the big water tanks, and I really like the design in general, but it's just so big that it really does change where you can and can't put it in your house, and it could be an issue for some people. So while I think the Ecovacs X1 Omni has top-of-the-line power and navigation, and that its mopping system paves the way for future automatic robot vacuum mop combos, I didn't like the mopping itself, which is unfortunately a big part of the size and price of this robot vacuum. Links in the description, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave. Thanks for watching.